I walked into my dining room at 6:45 on a Tuesday evening, and my daughter, my son-in-law, my older brother, and my business partner of 30 years were all sitting around my table with folders and documents spread out in front of them. My daughter looked up first. Her expression wasn't apologetic or caught off guard. It was determined. "Mom," she said, "we need to have a serious conversation." I had just driven back from visiting my rental property in Fountain Valley, one of the 3 restaurant locations I owned across Orange County. I was 58 years old. I had started with a single food cart selling Vietnamese sandwiches in Westminster when I was 28, right after my husband died and left me with a 3-year-old daughter and $8,000 in debt. 30 years later, I owned 3 successful restaurants, 2 commercial properties, and had enough in the bank to retire comfortably tomorrow if I wanted to. I had built all of this from nothing, working 16-hour days, sleeping in my car between shifts, learning English from cooking shows on TV. But standing there in my own home, looking at these 4 people I had trusted completely, I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "What's going on?" I asked. "Did something happen at the Garden Grove location?" "Sit down, Mom," my daughter said. "Her name is Lisa. She was 35 years old, married to David for 7 years. I had paid for their wedding. I had given them the down payment for their house in Irvine. When David's real estate career wasn't going well 2 years ago, I had given him $40,000 to stay afloat without asking for it back. "I'd rather stand," I said. My brother Tommy shifted in his seat. He was 61, 3 years older than me. When our parents died in a car accident 20 years ago, I had split everything with him equally, even though I was the one who had taken care of them in their final years. When his gambling problem got bad, I had paid off his $65,000 casino debt and made him promise to get help. "Helen," my business partner Mike said. He was the only one who looked uncomfortable. Mike and I had worked together since the beginning. He managed the books. I ran operations. We had built this together. "Please hear them out." "Hear what out?" I asked. My voice was calm, but my heart was racing. Lisa pulled out a folder. "Mom, you're 58 years old now. You've been working yourself to death for 3 decades. It's time to think about slowing down. Think about selling." "I'm not selling my restaurants," I said. "Mom, listen." David leaned forward, his real estate agent voice coming out. "The market is really strong right now for restaurant sales. I've done some preliminary research. We could get at least $2 million for the 3 locations if we bundle them right." "We?" I repeated. Lisa spoke quickly. "We're family, Mom. We're just trying to help you. You're getting older. You forget things. Last month you left the walk-in freezer door open all night at the Westminster location. The month before, you missed a payment to your seafood supplier." I stared at her. I had left the freezer door open because one of my cooks called me crying at 11 p.m., saying her husband hit her and she didn't know what to do. I had driven to her apartment, helped her pack, taken her to a women's shelter, and didn't get home until 4 a.m. I forgot about the freezer. As for the supplier, I hadn't missed a payment. I had disputed a charge because they delivered 50 pounds of spoiled shrimp and I refused to pay for it. They had corrected it within a week. "Those aren't signs of anything except me running 3 businesses, I said. Tommy spoke up. "Sis, you're tired. Anyone can see it. You don't have the energy you used to. You should enjoy your retirement. Travel. Relax. Let the younger generation take over." I looked at the papers on the table. Even from where I stood, I could see letterheads from law firms I didn't recognize. "What are those documents?" I asked. "Just some paperwork," Lisa said. "Power of attorney forms, basically. So we can help manage things if you decide to sell. Make the process smoother. Mike can explain the financial side." Mike wouldn't meet my eyes. "Helen, it's just standard stuff. Protection for you. Making sure everything's in order." I had known Mike for 30 years. I could read him like a book. And right now, he looked guilty. "Who asked you to be here, Mike?" I asked quietly. He looked at Tommy, then at Lisa. "They called me last week. Said they were concerned. Thought I should be involved in the conversation since I know the business." "What conversation? The one where you all decided I'm too old and senile to run my own life?" "Mom, don't be dramatic," Lisa said. Her voice had an edge now. "We're trying to help you. We've been watching you struggle. You're not as sharp as you used to be. The staff has noticed too." My blood went cold. "The staff has noticed what?" David pulled out his phone. "We've been documenting concerns," Several employees mentioned that you've been confused lately, mixing up orders, forgetting conversations, getting angry over small things. That's a lie, I said. But even as I said it, I was thinking about who on my staff would say those things. And I was thinking about 2 weeks ago when my kitchen manager at the Fountain Valley location, a woman who'd worked for me for 5 years, suddenly quit with no explanation. It's not a lie, Lisa said. We have statements. We also have a letter from Dr. Morrison. Who's Dr. Morrison? David's cousin. He's a psychiatrist in Los Angeles. He specializes in age-related cognitive decline. I've never met any Dr. Morrison, I said. You don't need to meet him for a preliminary assessment, David said smoothly. Based on the documented behaviors and witness statements, he feels a full evaluation would be appropriate. I looked around the table. At my daughter, who wouldn't meet my eyes now. At my son-in-law with his rehearsed real estate pitch. At my brother, who I'd bailed out of every bad decision he'd ever made. At my business partner, who looked like he wanted to disappear. Get out, I said quietly. Mom, get out of my house, all of you. Now. Helen, you're proving their point, Mike said. This kind of reaction? I repeated. My voice was rising now. You sit in my home, with papers trying to take control of my business, with fake doctor's letters, with lies about my staff, and you tell me my reaction proves I'm senile? Lisa stood up. Fine. We tried to do this the easy way, but if you won't listen to reason, Mom, we'll have to do what's best for you whether you like it or not. I walked to the front door and opened it. Get out. They gathered their papers. They filed out one by one. Mike was last. He paused in the doorway. Helen, I'm sorry. But they have a point. You're not getting any younger. Neither are you, Mike, I said. And I've known you long enough to know when someone's bought you off. How much did they offer you? He flinched. They didn't offer me anything. Then why are you here? Because I'm worried about you. No, I said. You're worried about something else, but you made your choice. I closed the door. I went upstairs to my bedroom. I could hear them talking outside on my driveway. I could hear Lisa's voice, clear and cold. She's worse than we thought. We need to move quickly before she changes everything. I sat on my bed. I did not cry. I had not cried since my husband's funeral 30 years ago. I had not cried through the years of 16-hour days, the years of racist customers, the years of being told a Vietnamese woman couldn't succeed in business. I had not cried when Lisa told me she was embarrassed to bring friends to my restaurants because they were too ethnic, or when Tommy showed up drunk at my Westminster location and caused a scene with customers. I did not cry now. Instead, I opened my laptop. I opened the folder I had created 2 months ago, the one labeled 2024 tax documents, but which actually contained something very different. 2 months ago, I had noticed that someone had tried to access my business bank accounts from an IP address in Irvine. That was where Lisa and David lived. I had immediately changed all my passwords and set up alerts for any unusual activity. Then I had started paying attention. I noticed that Lisa had started visiting my restaurants more often, asking questions about profit margins, supplier contracts, property leases, questions she had never cared about before. I noticed that David had accidentally left his laptop open at my house one Sunday, and when I walked by, I saw he had a spreadsheet up titled Helen's Assets, Projected Sale Values. I noticed that Tommy had asked me, very casually over coffee, whether I had updated my will recently, whether I had a succession plan for the businesses. I noticed that Mike had started suggesting I should think about bringing in younger partners. New blood, people with fresh energy. I had spent 30 years in business. I knew what I was seeing. So I had started documenting too. I had installed security cameras in my home office, small ones, legal ones, in my own private space. I had recorded every conversation when they came over to visit. I had saved every text message. I had screenshots of every time David tried to access my email when he thought I was in the kitchen making tea. I also had something they didn't know about. 6 weeks ago, I had met with my attorney, a woman I'd worked with for 15 years. I had transferred all 3 restaurants into a limited liability corporation with a board of directors consisting of my attorney, my accountant, and my 3 longest-serving managers. I was still the majority owner, but the structure meant that no one person could make decisions about selling or transferring ownership without board approval. I had moved most of my personal assets into an irrevocable trust with an independent trustee. The commercial properties went into a separate LLC. On paper, I had about $30,000 in accessible accounts. Everything else was locked up tight. I had also updated my will. Everything would be divided between a scholarship fund for children of Vietnamese immigrants and a foundation supporting women escaping domestic violence. Not $1 for Lisa, for David, for Tommy, or for Mike, who had just sat at my table and validated their lies. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I had 112 missed calls. Most were from Lisa, many were from David, some from Tommy, 3 from Mike. I blocked all their numbers. Then I called my attorney. "Helen," she said when she answered, "I was expecting your call. I got served with some interesting papers yesterday." "What kind of papers?" "A petition for conservatorship. They're claiming you're mentally incompetent to manage your affairs. They have statements from 4 people, including your business partner. They also have a letter from a doctor, James Morrison, recommending immediate psychiatric evaluation and possible institutional care." My hands were shaking. I had expected something, but not this. Not this fast. Not this extreme. Can they do this? They can try. But Helen, based on everything you've shown me over the past 2 months, they're going to lose. And they're going to face serious consequences. What do I do? Nothing. You live your life. Go to your restaurants. Meet with your staff. I'll handle the legal response. Oh, and Helen, you might want to hire a private investigator. I have someone I trust. Within a week, the investigator had found everything. David and Lisa had taken out a second mortgage on their house 8 months ago. They were $85,000 in credit card debt, most of it from Lisa's shopping and David's failed real estate investments. David's real estate license was actually suspended 3 months ago for ethics violations. He hadn't told Lisa. He hadn't been working at all. Tommy had started gambling again 6 months ago. He owed $45,000 to various casinos and had been borrowing money from loan sharks. He was being threatened. Mike's daughter had gotten into USC but couldn't afford the tuition. Mike had exhausted his savings. He was desperate for money, and Lisa had promised him $100,000 from my estate if he helped them. Dr. Morrison was David's cousin, like they said. He had written the letter without ever meeting me, based entirely on what David told him. It was completely fabricated. They weren't worried about my health or my capability. They were worried about their debts, and they saw me as a solution. The conservatorship hearing was set for 3 weeks later. During those weeks, I did not speak to any of them. Lisa showed up at my Westminster restaurant twice. I had the staff tell her I wasn't there. Tommy came to my house. I didn't answer the door. I just kept living my life. I went to my restaurants every day. I worked with my staff. I negotiated a new contract with my suppliers. I interviewed 2 potential new managers. I went to my book club. I had dinner with friends. I also met with 5 different doctors, my primary care physician, a neurologist, a psychiatrist, a cognitive specialist. They all evaluated me. They all wrote detailed reports confirming I was sharp, competent, and showed no signs of any cognitive decline whatsoever. I gathered financial records showing perfect management of my businesses. Tax returns filed accurately every year. Books balanced to the penny. Profit margins growing steadily. I collected statements from my employees. All of them, except for one kitchen manager who had been paid $5,000 by Lisa to quit and make false statements. She came to me crying 2 days after she quit, said she felt terrible, and gave me screenshots of the Venmo payment and text messages from Lisa coaching her on what to say. And I had the recordings. Every conversation where they discussed how to get control of my money, every moment of their planning, every lie they told. The hearing was in a small courthouse in Santa Ana. I wore a navy blue dress and pearl earrings my mother had given me before she died. I had my attorney next to me and 4 bankers' boxes full of evidence behind us. Lisa, David, Tommy, and Mike sat on the other side with their attorney, a man who looked fresh out of law school. The judge was a woman in her 60 seconds named Patricia Huang. She looked at the petition, looked at me, looked at them, and sighed. Let's start with the petitioners. Explain to me why you believe Miss Nguyen requires a conservatorship. Their attorney stood up and began reading from their statement. The forgetfulness, the confusion, the angry outbursts, the financial mismanagement, the concerning behaviors documented by family members and business associates. Judge Huang listened without expression. Then she turned to me. Miss Nguyen, how do you respond? I stood up. Your Honor, I brought some things to show you. My attorney set up a laptop. We played the first video, the one from my home office, dated 6 weeks ago, where Lisa and David sat on my couch and went through their plan. Lisa's voice, clear as day. Once we get the conservatorship, we can sell everything within a month. My mom won't even know what hit her. David's voice. What about Mike? He's going to want his cut. Lisa. He gets $100,000. We get the rest. That's the deal. David. What if she fights it? Lisa. She won't. We'll have her committed if we need to. Morrison said he could make that happen. I watched their faces as the video played. Lisa went pale. David stared at the table. Tommy closed his eyes. Mike looked like he might be sick. We played 3 more videos, each one worse than the last. Then my attorney presented the medical evaluations. 5 doctors, all stating unequivocally that I had no cognitive impairment whatsoever. Then the financial records. Perfect, meticulous, growing profit margins year over year. Then the employee statements, including the one from the kitchen manager who confessed to being paid to lie. Then the investigation into their finances, the debts, the desperation, the motive. Judge Huang took off her glasses. She looked at Lisa, David, Tommy, and Mike for a long time. I am dismissing this petition, she said. Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the district attorney's office for investigation of attempted financial elder abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. Dr. Morrison will also be reported to the medical board for filing a false evaluation. Your Honor, their attorney started to say. Sit down, she said. She looked at me. Miss Nguyen, I apologize that you had to go through this. I hope you have a good attorney because I suspect you're going to be filing some civil suits as well. 2 weeks later, Lisa and David were arrested. Attempted financial exploitation of an elderly person, conspiracy to commit fraud. The DA was particularly interested in the fake psychiatric evaluation and the bribery of my employee. Tommy was charged as an accomplice. Mike was charged with conspiracy and breach of fiduciary duty. Dr. Morrison lost his medical license permanently. The story made the local news. Then it went regional. Then a few national outlets picked it up. Vietnamese restaurant owner fights off family's attempt to steal her life's work. I did 3 interviews, all focused on raising awareness about elder financial abuse, particularly in immigrant communities where family obligations can be weaponized. Lisa called me from jail. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't want it to go this far. David pushed everything. Please, Mom. I'm your daughter. I need you. I deleted it. David sent me a letter trying to negotiate. He would testify against Lisa if I dropped the charges against him. He said he had valuable information about Tommy's gambling connections. I forwarded it to my attorney. Tommy called from Mike's house, where he was staying because he'd lost his apartment. Helen, please. I'm your brother. We're all we have left from our family. Mom and Dad would be so disappointed in you right now. Mom and Dad would be disappointed in you, I said. You saw your little sister as a bank account. I hung up. It was the last time we spoke. Mike came to my Westminster restaurant 4 months after the hearing. He waited until closing time. I walked out and found him sitting in his car in the parking lot. He got out when he saw me. Helen, please, just give me 5 minutes. I have nothing to say to you, Mike. I know, but I need to say something to you. He looked terrible. Thin, gray, aged 10 years in 4 months. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was desperate and scared, and I betrayed 30 years of friendship and partnership for money I never even got. My daughter won't even speak to me now. She said I destroyed the one real friendship I had over nothing. You didn't betray our friendship, Mike, I said. You joined a conspiracy to declare me incompetent and steal everything I built. That's not betrayal. That's evil. I know, he whispered. I'm so sorry. "You're sorry you got caught," I said. "You're sorry there were consequences. You're not sorry for what you tried to do to me." I got in my car and drove away. I watched him in my rearview mirror, standing alone in the empty parking lot. Now, almost 6 months after that night in my dining room, I'm sitting in my garden drinking jasmine tea. I have a new routine. I swim every morning at the community center. I'm teaching a cooking class twice a week for young Vietnamese entrepreneurs. I mentor 3 women who want to start their own food businesses. I'm planning a trip to Vietnam next spring, my first time back in 35 years. I also started a foundation, the WIN Foundation for Immigrant Entrepreneurs. We provide microloans and business mentoring for immigrant women starting food businesses. We've already helped 8 women open their own restaurants, food trucks, and catering companies. My restaurants are more successful than ever. I promoted my 3 most loyal managers to partners. They each own 10% equity now. They have made the businesses better than I ever could have alone. Lisa got 18 months. She'll be out in 12 with good behavior. David got 2 years. Tommy got probation and community service. Mike lost his CPA license and is working at a grocery store. I got my life back. I got proof that my instincts were right. I got justice. People ask me if I'm lonely. They see a 58-year-old woman who cut off her only daughter, her brother, her business partner of 30 years. They look at me with pity. I'm not lonely. I have my staff, who are more like family than my actual family ever was. I have my cooking students who call me Co-Helen and bring me flowers. I have my book club friends who have known me for 20 years. I have my attorney who became a real friend through all of this. I have a life that I built with my own hands, my own sweat, my own tears, and now I know that no one can take it from me. Lisa sent me a letter last month from prison. She says she's been in therapy. She says she understands now that she was taught to value money over relationships. She says she wants a chance to rebuild our relationship when she gets out. I haven't responded yet. I might never respond. Because here's what I learned through all of this. Love is not unconditional. Family is not forever just because you share blood. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from people who hurt you, even if they're your own daughter. I spent 30 years building something from nothing. I worked 16-hour days. I sacrificed everything for Lisa to have a better life than I did. I sent her to good schools. I paid for college. I helped her buy a house. I did everything a mother should do. And she looked at all of that and saw dollar signs. She looked at me and saw an obstacle to overcome, a problem to solve, a bank account to access. That's not love. That's not family. Real family are my night shift cooks who stayed late to help me when I was sick. Real family is my Fountain Valley manager who brought me her grandmother's pho recipe and trusted me with it. Real family is my attorney who worked weekends to protect me. Real family is my swimming instructor at the community center who saved me a spot in class when I was going through the trial and needed something normal to hold on to. I'm 58 years old. I have decades left to live. And I'm going to spend them surrounded by people who see me as a human being, not an ATM. People who respect what I've built, not scheme about how to take it. Sometimes I think about that night, walking into my dining room and seeing them all there with their papers and their plans. How my heart sank. How I felt betrayed and hurt and scared. But now, sitting in my garden, drinking my tea, I realized something. That night wasn't the worst night of my life. That night was the beginning of my freedom. That night was when I learned exactly who was loyal and who wasn't. That night gave me clarity. And clarity, it turns out, is worth more than all the money in the world. I sleep well now, better than I have in years. I have no guilt, no regret, no second thoughts. I made the right choice. I chose myself. I chose my dignity. I chose truth over family loyalty. And I would do it all again.